I'm Bo Forbes. I'm a clinical psychologist, yoga teacher, and yoga therapist. And one of my biggest interests is creating emotional balance. So today we're here to talk about emotional balance and the tremendous gap between insight and change. Most of us know what our problems are when it comes to emotional well-being, and sometimes we even know exactly what we need to do about them. But there's still a Grand Canyon-sized gap between our mental understanding and the real-life experience of lasting change. What causes that gap, and how can we narrow it? And so in my practice and in our therapeutic work at the center in Boston that we have, and also in my teaching, we've started to look at the elements that are most influential in causing or narrowing that gap between insight and change. So the three elements I'd like to talk to you about today are the nervous system and what level the nervous system is functioning at, also whether or not the body is involved in change, and then also the patterns that we may inadvertently practice that can reinforce the very anxiety and depression we're trying to change. So first, let's take a closer look at the nervous system. When our nervous system is in overdrive, that means that we're constantly on guard, constantly watching our environment for signs of danger or threat. Along with that, our stress response is activated, so we have higher levels of cortisol and other stress hormones. So one of the best ways to narrow the gap between insight and change is to balance the nervous system. So in many ways, psychotherapy and other methods of healing don't directly involve the body in change. Occasionally the body can come along for the ride, but it's mostly working at change through the process of gaining mental insight and understanding. As much as that mental insight is valuable, it's hard to translate into the body. It's hard to turn into what I call embodied insight. The third element that influences the gap between insight and change is the way that we practice and what we practice. And often without realizing it, we actually practice the patterns that exacerbate anxiety and depression. So what are the tools that can balance the nervous system, involve the body in change, and help us have new experiences and new practices that differ from our old ones? We take the contemplative practices of yoga, such as meditation, mindful and slow asana, pranayama, and restorative yoga. And those help to calm the nervous system. They address and involve the body. And they give us new experiences that are not anxiety, not depression, not chronic pain. And in this way, we begin to bridge that gap between understanding and change. We actually begin to create embodied insight. So I hope that our discussion today has helped give you a new perspective on how change happens and how you might be able to bring new tools into your practice to begin the process of creating emotional balance.